Right, let's look at the World Economic Forum. This is an annual meeting in Davos, a ski resort in Switzerland, and it's for the elite of the elite. First, it's very expensive to get there. The World Economic Forum controls access to make sure that the right thinkers, politicians are there looking at the state of the world. Sometimes it's as broad as that, and it used to be criticized for being too elite. The Davos man that helicopters in, but now concerned about things that affect us all: climate change, poverty, and the rate at which the world is adapting to things like the fourth industrial revolution. Well, our SABC anchor Nzinga Qunta is there, and it's fun to be there, but cold, Nzinga.
Yeah, Francis, I think cold would be an understatement. A very good evening to you and to our viewers on SABC News. You are quite correct. Davos, known as the playground of the wealthy and a very elite space, but increasingly we're seeing the World Economic Forum saying, especially with this meeting, that they're trying to be more inclusive, trying to be more human-focused and more sustainable. Of course, the theme of 2019 World Economic Forum meetings is Globalization 4.0, shaping the architecture in the age of the fourth industrial revolution. World leaders, cultural activists, politicians, business leaders, all converging on this small Swiss town to share their insights and see how they can work towards this vision that the World Economic Forum has set out on. Of course, Team South Africa has a very big delegation led by President Cyril Ramaphosa and Finance Minister Tito Mboweni. For more on this and what's happened today, I'm joined by Kusela Diko. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. We're hearing today at the meetings that the global economic forecast has been lowered and it's a bleak picture for the world over. How is South Africa then, who's trying to claw back from a difficult economic situation, going to try and escape this?
Well, thank you very much, Nzinga. Indeed, as you rightly said, the IMF has lowered the global growth forecast. But as South Africans, I think we should take heart that our economic growth forecast has been lifted, rising to about 1.2% forecasted for next year. Now, this speaks to exactly the message that we have come to bring to Davos, that South Africa is on a path of renewal and it's on a path of growth. When we came here last year, there was a lot of uncertainty with regards to South Africa's position. There were a lot of questions, issues that people felt that the investor community in particular felt that we needed to clarify, whether it was issues of policy to uncertainty in our mining charter, whether it was issues of governance, looking at the situation in our state-owned enterprises. So as we come here, we're bolstered this time around. A lot of work has gone in. South Africa really does mean business, because what we have done is to ensure that we respond decisively to those issues. So we come back on a much firmer footing. We are once again positioning South Africa as a very attractive investment destination. And this we do because, as we speak about raising, 1.2 trillion South African rands over the next 5 years, it's really so that we can attend to the pressing challenges our people face, challenges of unemployment and joblessness.
You said there were lots of questions when you were at Davos this year. I think those questions still remain top of mind. That was raised today at the World Economic Forum. Eskom saying it's too big to fail, but it's still a problem. The SABC and other state-owned enterprises, also question marks around then if it is a safe investment destination.
It is a safe investment destination. I think a lot of the reforms that we have put in place are really showing the investor community our seriousness in addressing those challenges. Eskom will never be allowed to fail. There has been ongoing discussions and consultations that the President has had with experts in the field, with the Public Enterprises Minister, with the investor community itself, especially those that we hold bonds with. I think that the President has said that as we lead to the State of the Nation address, he'll be able to make some pronouncement as it relates to changes that we would like to see around Eskom and its sustainability. First priority, obviously, is to keep the lights on, but ensure that we bring Eskom back on a path of financial and governance stability, ensuring that indeed we bring back good governance. I mean, a lot of progress has been made by the new board as well as the new executive management team. There's still a lot more to go, but we can see the strides already that are being made.
The focus of the World Economic Forum meetings this year is Globalization 4.0. And when that's being spoken about, youth plays a very big part. I know that one of your key messages coming here is that South Africa has a large, young, eager labour force. How are you planning to ensure that we don't get left behind in the fourth industrial revolution? Because the complaint about South Africa is that there are too many older people, if I'm going to be diplomatic, in power and not enough young, energetic people.
Well, I think we see the youth bulge, as they call it, we see it from a positive angle rather than as a negative. I think it's been raised that Africa as a whole, not just South Africa, has got this youthful population, and it's those energies that we must be able to harness. We are proud, for example, in government to boast a lot of young leaders, a lot of upcoming leaders, and I think a lot of them are even active here in Davos, and you'll soon be speaking to one of them. But what we're bringing, you remember the president first started at the International Labour Organization before coming through to Zurich, and one of the issues that he was raising there was this future of work. How do we ensure that in the midst of the challenges that are happening, whether it's around the digital revolution, whether it's around climate change, whether it's really things that are brought about as a result of globalization, we're able to take the workforce with us, especially young people, and ensure that we protect and sustain the jobs that we currently have. So those are the opportunities that we will be exploring even more here, and we're putting young people at the center of government's agenda.
We know that we have world leaders from all over the world. Someone that's been getting a lot of news coverage is the Ethiopian Prime Minister, because of his youth and because of the reforms that he's implementing. How closely does South Africa try and work and meet with people, not only at Davos, but during the rest of the year, who can perhaps help us move forward and bring in that energy that you were speaking about a little bit earlier on?
I don't think, Nzinga, there's a single engagement that we undertake where President Ramaphosa does not raise the issue of youth, of ensuring optimal employment of young people and women in all of the gatherings that we undertake. You'll remember, even as we speak about raising investment, it's about ensuring that firstly we're able to industrialize more, firstly we're able to ensure that we build our manufacturing sector, we're able to respond to the challenges of the fourth industrial revolution, and we've located young people at the heart of all of those interventions. So around the world, whether it is in discussions with the Canadian Prime Minister, who is a feminist himself, whether it is discussions in the AU. If you remember last year, there was a huge focus by the AU summit on, again, ensuring that Africa's young people are given the opportunities that will really assist us propel the continent to the further path of development. So it is a priority, and I think that the work that we're doing back at home, you'll know with the YES program and a lot of other programs about ensuring that we respond to the challenges young people face.
Thanks so much for your time on SABC News tonight. Presidential spokesperson Kusela Diko joining us there. She was speaking about youth leadership. Someone who has made a lot of noise when she came in because of the fact that she's young is our Communications Minister, Ndabeni-Abrahams. She joins me in studio now. Thanks so much for your time, Minister, and thanks so much for picking up my phone. Let's speak about the fourth industrial revolution and how we've been hearing from ministers today that South Africa is not actually prepared for the fourth industrial revolution.
I do hope that whoever said South Africa is not prepared is not from South Africa, because we have detailed plans. That is why after we addressed the pre-briefing before we came to WEF, we did mention that we'll be hosting a digital economy summit which seeks to bring all sectors, because one thing about the fourth industrial revolution is that it cuts across. It's not a matter of the Department of Communications. Whether you're in the agricultural space, in the aviation space, you will be affected. Unions will be affected. That's why when we host the summit in March, we'll make sure that we come up with a country plan that seeks to say this is the way forward for South Africa in terms of it responding positively towards the challenges, but at the same time exploiting the opportunities that are presented by the 4IR. Again, you've had President Ramaphosa when he said we are establishing the 4IR Commission. And as he does that, we also from the departmental side saying we're establishing a 4IR center whereby we're going to make sure that the work that is driven from the Commission to enable and enhance the innovation from the SMME side at least is given enough space in terms of building a center. We are liaising with the World Economic Forum 4IR Center to say how do we make sure that we can tap on the resources, the experience that they have to build a small Silicon Valley, as President Ramaphosa put it, in South Africa. Now tell me, if again, during the budget budget vote last year, we did mention to South Africa that we will be training about 1 million young people to be data scientists. We term it as building a capable army for the fourth industrial revolution. We've held a 4IR skills forum whereby we brought everybody who's involved in the skilling, not just in South Africa but outside, to say how can we coordinate in order for us to collaborate so that we can execute effectively. And that's, for me, that's a step towards readiness. And all we have to do is to make sure that in the next administration, how do we make sure that parliamentarians themselves, they develop laws that respond to data, because we're in the internet era now. Probably people think we're not ready because we have not come up with laws yet. Of course, this is the era that was dominated by the voice era, the telecoms era. Now we've got to change how we do things. When you talk of the future of work or the skills for the future, we're basically talking about data science related skills, which is why we partnered with everybody. That's readiness for me.
Thanks so much for your time on SABC. Minister, if I can ask you to just stay here, we will carry on speaking to you when we go off air. Francis, for now, it's back to you in studio from us in Davos.
Thank you very much, Nzinga Qunta, live from Switzerland.